morning.
I gotta get I dropped my headphones. Here we go. Hey, Morgan.
I finally made it. Good morning.
All right, good job. How are you, Amanda?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. I like your plants behind you. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks. I killed a bunch of them, so those are fake now.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, every time, my wife and I talk about that. She's a very good killer of plants. So I keep getting her cactuses and things like that in hopes that she won't kill those. And she's doing pretty good.
Oh, good. That's what I have back here.
Yeah, see, she's got some succulents right now, and it's working out.
Oh, good. There's one called, I don't know how to pronounce it, Polos, and it's nearly impossible to kill, and it turns into a long viney plant.
Nice.
That one might be for her.
All right, we'll give that one a shot. Awesome. How are you, Emily?
Great. How are you guys?
Good.
Today?
Good, thanks.
Good morning.
How are you, Laura?
Good. I'm on my phone today, so it seems kind of weird to me.
Oh, okay.
But maybe you can't tell.
No, I can't. I wouldn't have known if you hadn't told me. You're good.
Nice.
Yeah. Heather, how are you?
Other than some technical difficulties, I'm doing well.
That's all right.
This seems to be the morning for technical difficulties.
Yes, absolutely. I wear headphones when I do these from here because, my office is right beside one of the smaller team rooms, and more often than not, I'm, 8 minutes into an important conversation and a team goes in there and then it gets super loud. So I wear headphones. Well, this morning I went to plug them in and they weren't working. And then I finally got them working, and then the earpiece fell out and fell on the ground. And like, is my face being like projected on the screen yet? And I'm stumbling around with these stupid headphones. It's so much easier in person, but that's all right. So how's everybody liking Ignite so far? So far, so good?
Yeah, I feel like it kind of just helps like with motivation every day.
Sure. Yeah.
Good. It sparks that, momentum.
Yeah.
So
keeps us engaged, right?
Yeah. So I really appreciate it.
Good. It is my favorite course at KW. The Ignite, the Spark, and the Elements. This is my first time going through them. The previous one, I would do it twice a year. When I came on to KW, I did the previous one twice a year, and it was always my favorite. And so when I first started in real estate, money was super tight, and so I really enjoyed Ignite because it was included in my fees. So I think that's one of the reasons I liked it initially. And then I started to gain all the benefits from it, and it's just super informative. I really like it. So
I feel like it's the first class I've taken that tells me, gives me direction on what to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Because sometimes some of the other items we do are tougher to deal with, right? We think it's helping, and then it gets frustrating. So yeah, I totally get that. All right, we will start soon. We've got a few more folks. I think Josh is here. None of these people are wearing gloves in this Ignite picture, though. I think you're supposed to wear gloves now. Let's see, who all do we have? Hey, what's up, Josh? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Hey, sorry you messaged me right towards the end yesterday, and I didn't get back to you. So
Oh,
let's
no
catch
worries.
up today, and we'll get something figured out. Okay.
Sweet.
So looks like we might have a little bit of a smaller group today, but we'll get started, and then I know Laura will be really excited that we'll get to do some scripts today.
I knew you were gonna say that.
All right. So I introduced myself yesterday. I think everybody knows me here. Morgan, you weren't here yesterday. Emily, you were. Amanda, you were here yesterday, right? Okay, cool. All right, so I'm switching, as you guys can see, to this thumbnail video. So if I don't see you guys or address you personally, don't take offense because I can't see everybody. Okay, so welcome to Ignite. And the goal of Spark and Ignite is for agents to get their first appointment within the first 2 weeks of this class, and to get their first contract within 30 days. And when you do this, it's one of those things that will help you achieve the life you're imagining or your dreams of a real estate career, of it not just being a job, but it becoming a career. That was one of my mindset things. I had to quit thinking of it as my job and think of it as a career. So today we're going to focus on getting leads, cultivating our leads, and turning those into buyer opportunities or even seller opportunities. But mainly today's buyers. So when I was studying a bit on this, I found a video. She's a realtor. I'm trying to remember her name, but she's a realtor in Austin, Texas. She's been in real estate about 10 years. And she was telling the story about her first several months in real estate. I think she'd been in real estate for 5 months. She'd done something like 30 open houses, and she had 0 leads. She had 0 callbacks, and she was just really, really struggling. And on her 5th month, she took Ignite, and then by 7 open houses later, she had her first buyer under contract. And then over the next 7 months was just like a crazy run for her, and she ended up with Rookie of the Year. And that's the funny thing about real estate. It can really swing. It can really be a pendulum. And once you get your momentum, it'll really roll. You'll have ups and downs, and you'll have a few months at times where you're thinking that you're not going to be able to make the bills. And then all of a sudden you'll have 4 houses under contract at once, and you'll realize that you're still doing your work. You're still putting in your time and your lead gen. It's all going to work out. So Ignite is like Heather was saying, it's the one thing, it's the basics, and it's the foundation of everything you're going to do at KW. So I hope you guys are enjoying these. All right. So what do successful agents do every day? And feel free to hop in at any time and add your words or advice if you found something as well that you'd like to share. So something we do to grow our business, and we went over growing our business and running our business yesterday. Here's a few more things. Lead generate for buyers and sellers, make seller listing presentations, get listings, make buyer presentations, get listings, preview real estate. We talked about previewing real estate yesterday. What about buyer or seller presentations? Has anybody worked on any of those yet? Made like a packet to share with your buyers or sellers? Okay. So I'm just gonna take a note of that, and then that's something that we can work on in our PC program, we can work on making some presentations. And then preview real estate, that one's pretty straightforward. To run our business, we market our listings, we show buyers homes, we negotiate contracts, transaction management to closing, and that can be a quick 3-week period, or it can be 6 weeks and you're doing an extension 3 times. Unfortunately, it happens. We talked about vendor management yesterday, which is talking with your preferred partners, your inspectors, your HVAC people, your cleaners. When you guys find a really good cleaner, hang on to them, because some of them charge an arm and a leg. And you're going to end up thinking that, you know what, I'm just going to buy my own cleaning stuff and I'm going to clean this condo out by myself because my clients don't want to clean it. So make sure you find a good cleaner and stick with them, because they're worth their weight. We have to set our goals. Compliance risk management, like I said, that's a lot of John Hanson courses. And then talking with older agents, talking with people that have been in for a while. So when you are talking to the older agents, people with more experience, I guess you should say more experienced agents, not older. That's when you can do your vendor management as well. And you can get ideas from them on real estate attorneys or people that you should reach out to that can help you solve problems. Attending training, getting coached, and then managing our money. That's what we have to do every day. But we know that successful agents do these things every day, and some have to not answer their phone for 3 hours, or they don't open their office door because they know they need to do these basics. And I'm sorry, it's going to at times feel kind of dry and boring, but once you start doing these things, they'll eventually start making sense, because Keller Williams tells us success leaves clues. It really does. Excuse me. Every day we grow our business and we run our business so that in the future it just becomes automatic. So today we're going to show what successful agents do every day to gain more buyers, and we'll learn how to grow our business through buyers. So lead generate for buyers and sellers. We're going to focus on these skills a bit. The importance of database, right? How's everybody's database coming along? Are you guys using command to upload everything? And are you reaching out, trying to find a few more people to add? It's tough right now without open houses and door knocking, I know. But there's ways, right? How about our sphere? Our sphere of influence. It will allow you to launch more ads and reach more people. Then you can talk about more business topics. Once you start doing that, people in your sphere of influence will see and remember that Emily's in real estate business, and then they're gonna reach out to you and say, hey, I remember I saw that you do real estate. My uncle needs help selling his place. So finding our buyer and winning with the buyer, after we find the buyer, then we cultivate our buyer leads. We qualify our buyer leads, which sometimes that's the hardest thing. Any of you that have been doing Op City, Heather, you've been doing Op City, right? And qualifying those buyer leads is tough, because every once in a while, you'll get somebody that says they're ready or interested, and they really aren't, right? So we'll have to qualify those. And then at the end of that, we will sign the buyer agreement. which is a challenge. 1 second while I cough. All right. So how have some of you been finding your buyers so far? Has it been sphere of influence?
Mine's been sphere of influence and Op City so far.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a team, and we use ProQuest. So I've been calling a bunch of people from there.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Sphere of influence, and we use Boomtown.
Okay.
A couple of that.
Same.
Ashley and Kevin, you're on the same team, right?
And Alec.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Awesome. Josh, how about you? What's been best for you for finding clients? Sphere of influence?
Yeah, sphere of influence, and I've been doing the Op City, but like you said, there's a lot that are not necessarily there like they say they are.
A lot
And
of
then beyond that,
riffraff.
it was Facebook. I've run some ads,
Right.
and I've gotten a lot of people off of that in
That's
response,
awesome.
not just to the ads, but even just to like from my page because my ad drove them there.
That's awesome. Very cool. All right, finding our buyers. 89% of buyers purchase their home through a real estate agent. 41% found their agent through a referral from family or friends. 75% of buyers interviewed only one real estate agent during their home search. And 51% of buyers visited an open house as a way to search for homes. So why do you think that 75% of buyers interviewed only one real estate agent during their home search? Do you think it's because once they met that one agent, that agent did a good enough job, so they just stuck with them?
Some
Yeah,
of them
it-
already. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say they did a good enough job.
Right?
of
Right.
convincing that they had the knowledge.
Perfect.
Yeah, did a decent enough consultation, and then basically just let them know that their services are free for them.
Right.
Buyers don't pay commission.
Right. It's amazing too, Kevin, how many buyers don't know that, right?
Yeah, it is. I've had quite a few people say, "Well, what do you charge?" I'm like, "I don't charge you nothing." So
Yeah.
commissions.
It's kind of embarrassing for me to say this, but I got all the way to the very end of a commission last year. Literally the last week they'd already signed. And my friends who I've known for 15 years, and this is probably the exact reason why I didn't bother to tell them. I didn't give them my full presentation. I just assumed that they were going to use me, and they used me, and I did a great job for them. And we get all the way to the end, and Cody goes, "So how does this work? How do we pay you?" I'm like, "Dude, I can't believe I didn't tell you. I am really sorry. You don't pay me a thing, man. You can have me over for a barbecue, but the seller's paying." It's kind of funny. They don't know if we don't tell them most of the time. And yeah, and that was kind of eye-opening. So now I make sure that I make sure that I tell everybody so they know they're getting even more value out of me. It's weird. So you have to do what works for you. And some of you that are on teams, you do what works for your team. Because as a group, that's what you're doing, sticking with that precise way. That is the way to go. So you guys all stay connected there. And finding our buyers, that'll be related to what our business looks like. So since 89% of people purchase their house through real estate agents, that's good news for us, right? With looking at these stats, where do you think that you would want to begin looking for buyers? We've heard most everybody say sphere of influence, right? Especially right now. Josh is doing some Facebook ads that have worked out well for him. A few people are using ad services like Boomtown or OpCity. What would be some other ways that we could find some buyers or sellers?
Just talking to people when we're out, like grocery shopping and doing
Sure.
whatever, living our lives.
Yep.
I was gonna say the same thing. I got someone's name and phone number yesterday at Taco Bell. So
Nice. All right. So go to page 3, I believe it is, in your participant guide. And let's write some of these down. Grocery stores, Taco Bell, which I'm super disappointed they don't have tostadas and Mexican pizzas anymore. Big disappointment.
Come on, the Crunchwrap Supremes. Better.
Morgan's a chef. She can probably whip us up some of those. What are some other spots that we can find our buyers and sellers? And we talk about sphere of influence. And it's, again, tough right now, but we've got church. We've got kids programs. I'm very fortunate that I have two, I don't have kids, but I have 2 great godkids, my godson and goddaughter. I go to all their performances and sports events and things like that. I met their coach, or my godson's coach and his wife, and then they saw me at football the next season, and they saw me at basketball the next winter, and then in the spring they bought a $600,000 house from me. Getting out, doing things like that, just being a face in your community, those are some good things. Sports and everything, choirs, things like that, that'll all start up again with our kids. So just be ready, be prepared. Now's our time to plan and get ready, because once things start reopening and whatnot, it'll be kind of like a landslide to get into it. So be ready. What are some other ways? Those Facebook ads are pretty decent. Sorry, Amanda.
Oh, it's okay. I was going to say I dropped off some business cards at my chiropractor's office.
Perfect.
Just had a good conversation with him about referring people back and forth, and so
awesome.
That was it's fun.
That's great. I tried that too at my barber. So that is a good spot to do it as well. Chiropractors. And that's our vendors too, right?
Yeah.
So for the Facebook ads, how much do they charge? I haven't looked into those ones yet. What is a good price point that they charge? Or
want to tell us about yours, Josh?
Yeah, I can look back through my emails here and try and send it, but it was a few months ago someone on the Facebook group had posted about like getting a great deal on ads, like a good return. And I basically just copied that. So I've run 4 ads and I've averaged about like 25 to 30 cents a lead. Now, I would say probably like 40% of those leads, the phone number or email is not the person that clicked. But what I do is I run an ad for like 4 days and I put it for like $9 to $12. So it's really just a couple dollars a day. If you have a list, like if I posted on the Facebook group and was like, anybody have a listing that I can use, those get more traffic than anything else.
Yeah.
Okay, so you just post to the group and ask if anybody wants you to post their listing.
Yeah, it's great. You ask, or if nobody responds, which somebody always will respond, but if
I won't say always. I did post it and I got nothing.
No. I spoke too soon.
Yeah.
So then if you're posting somebody else's listing, then how do you get the business from it?
So when they click on so you run the ad and I'm on Facebook and I click that to get more information about that listing. Mm-hmm. Basically, Facebook's going to send you the information I put in. So, and that's the hard part with the Facebook is not every one of them is vetted. We have to do the vetting of those because you can put that your name is Mickey Mouse and your phone number is the same as Jenny.
Yeah. Okay. So it's Okay, so they might be thinking that that is your listing, but you're just wanting their information.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
It's somebody else's listing, but your potential buyers.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You don't
But the
you don't
thing
have
about
to share
Facebook
that.
ads is it collects your face the pixel ID. So they can lie about their name and their phone number, but you can retarget those people because Facebook has like basically their social security number, but it's their Facebook ID, and they can retarget them as much as you want. It's just, so they can't lie about their Facebook ID number.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Esther, good to see you.
Sorry, I had kid drama this morning.
It happens.
I was going to say too, stretching your sphere of influence. We all have we have a sphere of influence, but we have those people who are really close to us. Make sure that they all have a bunch of your cards and stuff like that, because that's where I'm getting a lot of my people from right now. It's not necessarily my direct sphere, but my sphere.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It might sound silly, but when I first started, I targeted my loudest friends. So my friends that are the most active on social media platforms is who I targeted first. I met with them, grabbed coffee, or just had a good phone conversation. Said, "Hey, I'm just starting in real estate, and I have a decent amount of contacts, but I'd love to have some more. I'm going to send you some of my cards, and if you get a chance, do you mind passing them out to some of your favorite people that you think might be looking for homes?" Ended up, getting several great leads from that. And it's something we should do once or twice a year and target certain folks, because I haven't done it in at least a year. And the last time I did do it, I got a listing. So what you're saying, your sphere of your sphere, Heather, is perfect. That's right on. So what can we add to our success list based on this info? We know where we're reaching out already. We have some ideas from other folks of where to reach out to. What are some, if you could think of one other spot that you could get a buyer or a seller from? I mean, if we're finding folks just in the regular store or at the gas pump.
Your local gym when you can actually go back, or YMCA,
Yep.
restaurants. Got a contact from a bartender at Forelli's a few months ago, and
That's perfect.
Oh yeah.
Off topic question, which Pirellis? I worked there for 4 years. I just quit, so I'm curious.
Which Forelli's, Kevin?
This was in Sumner.
That's the one I worked at. Okay, crazy.
Kevin, don't target Morgan. She's a realtor now.
Yeah. don't target me.
Awesome.
All right. Once we've had a conversation with our potential lead, we need to cultivate that lead. And this is where Command really shines. So let's look at our lead generation model and see where the cultivation falls in the process. Have you guys been using Command so far? And are all the pictures on the covering up this part of the screen? Can you all see it okay?
Yeah,
We
we
can
can
see
see
the
the
screen.
graphic.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. If you guys ever can't see it, just holler and I'll change my screen view. All right. So once you found a lead, we need to cultivate or nurture them. That means we put them into an interactive or an action-based touch program with Command. Kevin and some of the teams, they use Boomtown. Do you guys use Command as well? Or is it mainly Boomtown?
We just use Command when we're putting them in the system if there's a mutual acceptance.
Gotcha. Oh, right. Okay, cool. So looking at these, we have I don't know, I think it looks like an awesome coffee mug. Some people call it like a click funnel, things like that. I just think it looks like 1 liter of coffee. So prospecting and marketing, by doing that with our prospecting marketing, whether it is open houses, phone calls, text messages, mail outs. Number two, leads. That's, once they're in our database, our tracking and offering, what we can do for them. Our contacts, again, contacting and our offerings, and then cultivate. Once they're in there, we nurture them, and then eventually we qualify them to make sure they're ready to buy. After that, the appointment, then we're looking, then we're under contract, and then we close. It's always that easy and that fast. Not really. So with the smart plans, Heather, are you using any smart plans currently?
I am starting to get my contacts into Command, but I will tell you that I am not using Command to its full potential.
Hey, don't feel bad. I'm not either. I feel bad because I should be, but I'm not. I have been very slow at learning Command. But if any of you haven't met with Crystal yet, make sure you do. Heather, you've met with Crystal, right?
Not on a one-on-one, but I have been in her
tech class,
her document sign class, and some of the tech stuff so far. And I know that like Command has a lot of potential. I have not made it a priority, and I really need to.
That's all right. Let's get you with Crystal on a one-on-one. Cool. Yeah, she's a lifesaver. So what this will do is this will trigger a series of events that'll get you into a relationship with that contact. It'll eventually cultivate that appointment. And the tasks that are in Command, they range anywhere from a text message to phone call to an email. Some of them you can set up, for a meetup or a drop by. And I'm sure some of you have seen Ashley Wolfslogel's video with Carmen on what she did with CMAs, and that was really awesome as well. I don't know if any of you have met Tim McCreary, but Tim and I, we used to door knock when that was legal, and we would just tell people, hey, we just sold a house just down the street, and you're going to have some new neighbors. We'd hand them a sheet of paper. This house we listed, for $340. It sold. There were 7 offers, and it sold at $365. Your neighborhood is super hot right now. So on the front of it was just a picture of the house, how much it was listed for, how much it sold for, how many leads there were. And then it said, you have a new neighbor. And then on the back, it said, Tim McCreary and Ryan Muse combined 40 years of real estate experience, most of which are Tim's. And what we'd love to do is offer you a free CMA on your home. And we'd hand them that sheet of paper, talk to them a little bit about their home, what they like, what they don't like, if they've considered moving. And that is how we did some buyer leads.
Brian, I have a quick question. I was
Yeah.
on another training recently
Mm-hmm.
with a mix of some more advanced agents, and I heard that even dropping off things is technically not allowed right now.
So from what I understand, it depends on the county.
Okay.
So I've heard that Thurston County is okay. And I think starting yesterday that technically Pierce is okay, but I'm not sure. I'll double check though.
Okay.
Because that's a really good question. I mean, we don't want to upset anybody or get into trouble, right? Actually, I think my gym just opened up yesterday, which is bad because then I have to make an excuse not to go again for another week.
Same.
Right? So, okay, once we've had our conversation with our potential lead, we cultivate that lead. And then that's where Command comes in, because it helps us remember. It helps us remember what we when to reach out and how to reach out. So are y'all able to open up command on your computers? And some of you folks in Teams, if you don't have that rolling, that's fine. No problem. Just bear with us for a minute. Morgan, do you have Teams or command going yet? We need to get you to meet with Crystal, right?
I met with Crystal yesterday.
Okay, great.
I took 2 of her classes and then I had an hour-long meeting with her.
Nice. Awesome. All right, good. So I'm going to attempt to do this correctly for you guys. Does everybody have their command open if you're going to be able to? So if you haven't done smart plans, we're just going to do it the easiest way possible because that is how I have to do it. Some of you know that I learned how to type on a regular typewriter. So I'm a little computer behind. So just over here on the left side, we have smart plans. This is kind of nice when you open up your command and it says you have no tasks to complete. So that means one of 2 things. I either completed them all and I'm awesome, or I don't have my smart plans set up enough to give me tasks that I should be doing. And that is probably the case. We should always have something to do. As realtors, there's always something to do. So just go on the left side here to smart plans, click on that. This pops open our page for smart plans. It shows which ones I've got going on here. Y'all can see my screen, right? So up here at the top, go to library. And then you can look through these. It's a lot of fun to look through these and see what other people are using for their smart plans. A lot of people like the 8x8, the new contact engagement. I kind of like that one. So the way you can read these, you go to view steps. If you haven't done this much, go to view steps. The first thing it does is remind you to send a text message or an automated text message, automated or manual. Then you wait a week. You have an interaction with your contact, which could be a postcard. It could be a phone call. Well, they have here phone call as the second week. Then another 7-day skip. Then you reach out again. Oh, it even gives an example. Just wanted to check in. How's your day going? Any real estate needs I can help with? And you can change that up too if you wanted. And you could say, do you know of anybody that needs help with real estate at this time? Most of the time, they're going to say no, at which point you could say, no problem. I've also got a great group of friends that work in real estate related activities. So if you ever need help cleaning your roof, a good yard person, a good home cleaner, let me know because I've got some really good contacts. Or if you have any construction projects upcoming, because if you can be a good resource for your contacts, they'll love that. We want them asking us how to find certain things, not posting it on Facebook. Or if they do post it on Facebook, that's really your time to shine. Hey, what's up, Ron? That's really your time to shine. And somebody posts on Facebook, hey, who do you guys know that's a great dog groomer? And then you chime in there and say, my friend Deidre that used to work at my real estate office with me, her daughter owns a place called Wet Noses Dry Paws in Tacoma. I really suggest Wet Noses Dry Paws. If anything that you can say that can slip your name in as a realtor and then have all their friends see it when they see their post is awesome too. I mean, you don't have to be blatant about it, but just a little bit about you being a realtor will get you some recognition there. Then phone call, then another text, another week later, then you do a touch task and reach out again. What I do is I go to either grocery outlet or Michael's or Joann's, and I get packs of note cards. It doesn't matter, what style they are. I mean, I got these at Hallmark. All I do is just get a new pack a month, and then I send out 30 cards a month. I try to do one a day. And you can mix that in with birthdays as well. If you want to look for a specific smart plan, just go here. Let's see, we're going to do long-term nurture. See what pops up. There's a few different ones. A couple different teams here that do these. Let me see if a different one can come up. Long-term follow-up. So you can look at, all of these are free. These are by other teams. And if you just look down here, it'll say free, the duration, how long it lasts, how many touches. You can also see how popular it is by how many agents are using it. So if I want to try one of these other ones, I can just click add smart plan. I can say download. Then you go back up to the top, my smart plans, and go to my long term. Then you can look at all the tasks and everything. And then what you want to do is add a contact, which it might not let me do. This one probably isn't letting me add it because it's a team. Oh, here we go. Okay. So then I start, as you saw down over here on the right was where you add the contact, or you can edit it. And now I'm just going to add myself. Or both of myselves. Add to smart plan. And then it's going to start immediately. So it'll start today. So if you have Twilio or one of those accounts, it'll all the text messages will automatically be sent. And then you click confirm and you're good to go. I hope that all made sense. So just peruse the library though, because there's all sorts of great contact plans in here. There's ones for birthdays. They're all pretty random, but some really good stuff. And like I said, one of the things you can do, this bi-weekly neighborhood nurture is really awesome because you can place people based strictly on if they like Marine Hills or if they like Lakeland Hills, something like that. Scenic Valley. You can place them based on that. And then if there's new stuff popping up in their neighborhood, that's a great way for them to find it. All right. So what do you guys think about smart plans? Do you think you try to use them?
Yes.
Hey, what's up? How you doing, Chris?
Pretty good, man.
Good deal. I think my favorite thing about being on Zoom is that folks pop up and everyone's quiet with their microphone off, and then you randomly see them after 5 minutes. And what do you think are some of the benefits? It's nice having everything on the computer because otherwise we end up with just tons of paper piled up. And it's always a place we can go. If we remember our passwords and We keep track of all of our login information. We can do it at the office. We can do it on our phone or at home. And it really helps cultivate those leads. It's a really good way for our leads to feel taken care of, and that you can personalize all those messages. It's kind of nice getting a reminder to text message somebody also, instead of it just being a regular stock text message going to them. It's a good way for them to hear from you with a personalized text message. Okay, so what about qualifying our buyer leads, the ABCs? So this is how we figure out our leads. Some people use a number system. Some people use the ABCs. Able, ready, and willing to purchase. That means basically they're going to be ready to be under contract within a matter of weeks. This is typically somebody that you meet at an open house or through a friend that might even have a lender already, and they're ready to go. B, the buyers, they're ready and willing, but they're not ready yet. I mean, they might just not be able to yet. They might need to bring up their credit score a little bit. They may need to list their home and sell it, wait for their lease to expire, get cash on a tax refund, something like that. C, not ready. Those folks are also your, no offense to them, your nosy neighbors. That'll call you based on your sign so they can find out how much their house will sell for, and why they might not be ready to sell right away. That's a contact. So add them to your smart plan and then send them a postcard immediately. Hey, Steve, thanks so much for calling about our listing on 24th. I really appreciate you reaching out. Just so you know, here's my number and email. And reach out anytime. I'd love to talk with you more about your neighborhood. And then you've captured that lead. You haven't done anything wild or crazy that would upset them, and you're just staying in touch at this point. You never know about their situation. It might even be the case that you can bring a buyer to them and sell their house off market. They might not even need to list it. So what else can you do in each stage to ensure that you're nurturing your leads? We already talked about the smart plans. How else? The smart plans talked about the different touches, whether it be a text, an email, a phone call. I talked about note cards. What are some other ways that we can reach out to folks and remind them who we are?
Thinking like birthday cards, Christmas cards.
Yep. Yeah, perfect. You see that, their kiddos graduating from school. You send their kid a graduation card. We have a couple agents here in the market that they do a birthday card with a $5 coffee gift card or Starbucks card for every member of the family. Which, listen guys, at first I know money's going to be tight, but in the future that'd be a good option, because everybody can get something to eat at Starbucks or drink, or you can get the puppy frappuccino with the whipped cream in the cup. I'd rather go to Grounded or one of the other spots, but you can get coffee cards and send them to anybody for birthdays, and folks love that. You could also do a neighborhood landing page for leads and target folks that are in certain areas. That works pretty well in a lot of the planned communities. That would work well up in Tahale or out in Black Diamond at Tin Trails, spots like that. They're where folks would like to get to. What about buyer lead sheet? Have you guys worked on buyer lead sheets at all? So let's find our buyer lead sheet. Do you guys have that in your documents there?
It might be in the toolkit, but it's not in our packet for today.
Okay. We'll just talk about it here real quick. Okay. Oh yeah, it says download the buyer lead sheet from your electronic toolkit. So if you can do that, go for it. If not, we'll just talk about it, okay? We'll talk about how filling it out is. And if you're not able to download it, just jot this down on a piece of paper, on a blank sheet of paper. So using the buyer lead sheet in our toolkit, it'll guide us through that buyer qualification. The buyer lead sheet will help you uncover if the buyer is able, ready, and willing to purchase a home. It will also help you establish control of the conversation with the buyer by asking about certain things like price, motivation, location, wants and needs, timeline, finances, and availability. Availability would be when are they available to see homes with you. Wants and needs are very important, especially with couples, because what somebody needs, the other person does not need or want. And what somebody else wants, they don't actually probably need, but they want it. And so then you have to get whoever's buying the home on the same page, and some compromise has to happen. You'll find out the longer you do this, the more you are just a counselor, and you get to help folks work out their their relationships through the home buying process. It's fun. So the importance of using this tool is because it's going to help you guys avoid wasting time. Avoid wasting time with leads that are not ready to buy. Leads that aren't ready, they should be qualified accordingly. They'd be put into that C section, and then they'd be put on an action-based follow-up plan through command. And it doesn't mean that you should forget about them, because now they're part of your sphere of influence. So now they're part of the sphere of your sphere, right, Heather? And so now they are not a lead, but they could be a lead source for you. And then who knows, you may help them out 3 years down the road.
So at the questions, they don't look too in depth. How would that help you decide if they were
Sure.
A, B, or C?
As you go through it, you'll start to take you'll just start to take little things away from it, which will then help you ask a few more questions.
Okay.
And then from that point, you're going to realize, I think the biggest ones for me that I always ask, the first thing I always ask is, what's your timeline?
Okay.
And then after timeline, the next thing I talk about is your finances. Have you been able to talk to a lender yet? And if the person says no, then we get them introduced to, I usually introduce them to 2 or 3 lenders, and then let them do a little interview with them and decide who they want to go with. More often than not, if your person has not started getting pre-qualified already, they're going to take the number one person you suggest. And hopefully it goes well, because if not, they're going to choose somebody who's terrible, and you're going to end up in a super long transaction because the lender is too busy or something like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the first thing I do is timeline. You guys are 6 months down the road and you don't have a lender, no problem. We've got plenty of time. Or you'll get people that are like, our lease is up in 6 weeks and we haven't talked to a lender. And then you realize, you know what? I need a lender that just gets things done. They might have, the ability to take this lead on at the time. So you let them know, you do an introduction from your client to the lender. You call that lender and you say, hey, Nykole, I just want you to know they've got to be out of their place in 6 weeks. And I think we found a spot for them, but we really need to get them pre-qualified quickly. They're reviewing offers in 2 days. Then you kind of know what you're working with. Those are some of the tougher things when it's more of a quick situation. And then it breaks down from there. Your motivation right there on a situation like that is our lease ends in 6 weeks. Something like that. That's some good motivation. And then after that, the reason I do finances first, I mean timeline and then finances, because your finances will change everything else. Their location, if they want to be on, in Des Moines on the water, you're not going to be there if you're only pre-approved at 400. I'm sorry. So that's why I want to do their timeline and finances first. And then after that, everything else will kind of fall into place.
Ryan,
So,
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
As far as lenders go, I've talked to a few people and they're worried about their credit being pulled. Because I've had some people say that it's only valid for 90 days. And if they weren't able to find a home for quite a while, that their credit would have to keep getting hit.
Sure.
Is that true, or?
I've heard mixed responses from that.
Okay.
So I usually work with Debbie McNeil and Greg Oken here in the office.
Okay.
I really like them a lot, mainly because I know where they are. So if something's gone haywire, I can go talk with them and face to face, and I also know where they live. So if it gets really bad, but no, I like growing that relationship with the lender, so I get kind of a no nonsense answer. What I've talked with Debbie and Greg is Greg's told me in the past that it's not a big enough pull to mess up your credit. Usually they can do what has been called a soft inquiry, and a lot of people might not call it that, but I always just say, hey, can we do kind of a soft inquiry? And at that point, what they're going to do is give just kind of a general, this client can probably afford up to 400,000. If you really want me to do the full pre-approval, we'll have to pull their credit, but I think they're safe with their income and their debts to go ahead and start searching for anywhere from up to 400,000. And then at that point, if they're ready to really start looking in earnest, then they'll do the full credit pull. Now, the letters, usually are for, I've seen some for 60 days, some for 90. But usually by that point, if there was any life taken away from their credit score, by that point it'll be fine again by the time they're closing. So by the time they're closing, or within 2 weeks of closing, they're going to lock in that rate, and by that point it's been 6 weeks or 2 months since the original pull, and it'll probably be fine again.
Okay.
As long as they don't do something silly and try to buy a car like a week before closing. Right, Kevin? I had these clients, super sweet folks. He's with Boeing, and they signed their documents on a Friday. The seller was signing on Monday. My clients, this is like my third transaction in real estate. Third, yeah. The clients decided that they were going to buy a brand new Chevy Camaro on Saturday. And thankfully, the lender that was helping us with our loan through BECU did not rerun his credit again on Monday for a last minute check. Otherwise, they would have found out that he spent 36 grand on a new Chevy Camaro. So that's something else too. I know it's a little bit off here, but make sure you tell your buyers not to, once you start looking for a house, no big purchases. I wouldn't even suggest buying appliances till you're close to closing, or till you close.
May I ask a question about talking to lenders?
Yeah.
And I know I missed yesterday, and that's probably when you talked about it, or is that at
Nope.
least in the videos from yesterday? Because I know in your email you gave a list of the ones you suggest or ones you go personally to.
Sure. Yeah.
When we call the lenders, what would you suggest us say? Just introduce ourselves and ask who they are?
Yeah. So I was lucky enough to meet Debbie and Greg here at the office. But when I reached out to Nykole, what I told her is, hey, my friend Tim McCreary suggested that I give you a call. And I was just wondering if there was a time that you and I could chat and talk about us having a relationship here in real estate. I'm a newer agent, and I'm just kind of interviewing a few folks that I might like to work with, and I was wondering if you have some time to talk. That's kind of how I open up with calling people.
Okay, and they've probably had that conversation before, so they know where to take it from there.
Right, exactly. So they'll say, yeah, absolutely. Let's set a time. We'll do a Zoom, or would you like to stop past the office? We've got a really limited staff here at the office, but if you want to swing by, I can just introduce you to a few of our processors or folks that you would be talking with, and I'll give you a free pen or whatever it may be. And then you can kind of swing by and see how the process works. So when you send in all your documents, to who's going to be processing them, and then closing with your closing agent as well.
Great. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, and absolutely. And anytime you get a suggestion from somebody, whether it's from Heather or Ashley or Kevin or myself, make sure you name drop.
Okay.
And say, hey, Heather suggested that I give you a call and that you would be a great resource. I was wondering if you might have time to talk as I get into real estate here about what I should and shouldn't do as we try to get clients approved to buy homes.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. So would anybody like to do a little role play here? You guys want to qualify some buyers? Anybody? We can all turn our microphones on. Now we've seen how to qualify our buyer leads, so let's practice it.
I'm down, Ryan.
All right.
Do you want me? Am I calling you, or do you want to call me? What are we doing?
Yeah, I'll do the first one.
Okay.
Let's see. I wonder if they broke this up into, oops, let me check this real quick.
Oh, it says that we're supposed to break out in 2 or 3s.
Yeah, let me see if they have this set up for a breakout. Can I not pull up the... I don't know if they have the breakout set up on here today. There it is. Okay, so we're going to break. Actually, you know what, you guys? Let's take a break first. Does everybody want to grab a drink and use the washroom? Let's do that. So just come back in 5 minutes and then we'll do some role play. So just say 10:10. Be back at 10:10.
What packet? I don't see it in the packet. What pages we need for this?
Sure, let me see.
Is it in the toolkit? There's the scripts in there. Is that what?
In the toolkit is the buyer lead sheet.
Okay, I have this printed. Great, thank you.
Did you find that? Here it is.
And in the email Goalie sent out, it's also under student materials.
Okay, the one she did right at the beginning, right?
Yeah, student materials, and then you go to participant resources, and then I just go to like the day, like today's day 7. And that's how I've been downloading them.
Perfect. Thanks, Kevin. All right, how we doing? Is everybody back? Getting there?
Hey, Ryan, quick question. What's a KPA?
It's kind of like the disc.
I don't know what that is either. Help me.
Did you take kind of a an assessment when you came?
No,
Really?
really.
I didn't either. What's the assessment?
All right. Josh, did you take a KPA or a disc? No, that's right. We did that together.
I was added the disc.
Okay. I'm going to take some more notes of things we need to do. So the KPA and the disc are both like assessments to kind of find out where we stand, what type of personalities we have, who we work with best, how driven we are. It's, some people call it like a talent insight. It's a good way to find out as well if you're more ready to be a buyer's agent, to be on a team, to be a listing agent, to be an admin, things like that. So it also talks about like behavioral strengths. So Morgan and Heather, neither of you have done that, yeah?
No, I haven't.
Okay. We'll talk with Carmen because we should be able to get that going for you.
I have a meeting with her today at 2.
Oh, great. Let's have you ask her about it
Okay.
then as well.
Great.
And then Heather, we'll do an email for yours, okay? So my screen is sharing. Okay. So role play with our buyers. Okay, do we all have our sheets out for how to qualify our buyers? So we talked about price, motivation, location, the home criteria, what they want, their timeline, their finances, their availability, so you can find out what time of day you're going to be showing these clients homes. Our A, B, and C buyers. Those A's, sometimes you're super fortunate, they're already qualified and you just get them out showing immediately. That way they don't, some buyers are kind of skittish and they'll just jump at whatever. And so the sooner you get them out, so you get that conversation with them and that camaraderie, they'll stick with you. Okay, does anybody want to go over the buyer lead sheet with me?
What page is it for the scripts for the buyers?
There's a whole nother set of scripts in the toolkit.
I just went through it. I didn't see anything specifically as directed towards the buyers and the lead sheet. I think it's more just kind of running through the lead sheet with the questions and kind of that way.
So we'll go through the lead sheet and it'll all become kind of second nature to you. It just takes some practice. It sounds silly because it just looks like a line of, a form to fill out. But yeah, we'll just go through this real quick. And I will ask who would like to be my buyer. And then after that, you guys will break you up into small teams.
I'll take it on. I'll be a buyer.
All right. Awesome. Hey, Heather, it's nice to meet you.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks.
Thanks for meeting with me today. So I already got your email and your mailing address. At this point, you could ask for kids' names, or you can wait a little bit longer. Sometimes I like to wait and keep some of those easy questions and easy answers just off to the side in case something weird happens in the conversation and I need an easy layup or a softball pitch. Then I can ask children's names later on or something like that. So Heather, just wondering, have you gone and looked at any houses with any other agents yet?
Not with an agent. We've just kind of been shopping some on Redfin and doing looking at some open houses and stuff.
Cool, right on. I'm really glad to hear you're using Redfin instead of Zillow because they update a lot faster. So if you're going to use an online source like that, definitely Redfin is better than Zillow. But by the end of this, I'm just going to send you my app as well. And that way, when you look through and you really like a property, then I'll know immediately so I can get you all the info on that as well. So are you buying the home by yourself or is somebody else buying it with you?
It would be my husband and I.
Okay, cool. And you've got 2 kiddos?
I do.
Awesome. Anybody else living with you guys? Do you need a mother-in-law suite or anything like that?
Actually, my mom lives kind of with us. She has a trailer, so it'd be awesome if we like an RV hookup.
Sure.
Or something along those lines.
Okay. Awesome. That's perfect. So you folks are moving out of your current house. Do you mind telling me why? Is it just time to expand or do you have a lease that's ending?
It's not a lease. We own our home currently, but are looking for something bigger and a little bit more land.
Yeah, I get it. So in my mind, without looking at this sheet, now I'm ready to ask you about the lender. So, which is funny because the next questions are about lenders. So I've done this enough now that it's in my mind that now is the point where I ask about lender. So Heather, have you spoken with the lender yet?
We have not. We're still pretty early in our process and not really sure. Yeah.
Okay. So we might need to, I'm just guessing here, probably sell your current home as we help you buy your new home. Does that sound right?
Potentially. Honestly, we'd really like to find something and buy it first and then not have this be contingent. But
okay.
Yeah.
Well, great. So when we wrap up here at the end of our call, I'm going to put you in contact with my friends Greg and Debbie with Movement Mortgage. I'll also probably have you reach out to Nykole Stearns with Fairway. I'll do an intro email just so you can kind of get to meet them. You can see who you jive with the best, who gets back to you the faster. And that way you can make a decision on who you might like to work with. At that point also, you can talk about rates and things like that. And then you can decide which one's the best and then let me know who works for you. So just thinking about it, you gave me your address and I already pulled up your house, the house in your current neighborhood. On the current market, if we had to sell it, would probably sell for around $500,000. So do you think you'd be looking to buy something in similar price, or would you probably like to go up in price a bit since you want a bigger home with a little bit more land?
A little bit up in price. We're probably looking around 6.
Okay.
I'd say 600 if this will sell at 5.
Okay.
So and we don't mind going like farther out.
Sure.
So
okay.
If that makes it more possible.
Usually it does. And with the way things are now, folks are doing a lot more working from home. So that could totally work. But your home where you're at right now is in a great spot. People love that area. So we won't have a problem selling it either. So besides your husband and then thinking about parking your mom's trailer there at your spot. Is there anybody else that would be in this home buying decision?
No.
No? Okay. And probably just yourself and your husband on the loan?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I just asked that because every once in a while, somebody else may need to sign. And they might say, hey, no, we don't care. You buy whatever you want. And then we get halfway through it and their great aunt says, forget it. I think that house is a terrible purchase. So that's cool. I just wanted to check. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you want to take your time and 10 being you want to get into something as quickly as possible, where would you rate yourself?
Probably a 5.
Awesome. All right. No, that's great. That'll give us time to get you all pre-qualified with your favorite lender, and then we can really get into those areas that you might want to have that home in. So you're fine with getting through the winter and finding something in the early summer?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. If we do find something sooner than that, that is awesome, and it checks off all your boxes on your wish list, would you be willing to act then?
Yes, if it's perfect. It would have to be worth moving my kids out of school.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'll tell you, I'd love to help you buy a home. Let's just set an appointment and we'll roll out. I'll pick a few houses in that Graham area. We'll head out there. We'll look at them, see if you folks like it. Is it best for you folks to meet on weekdays or on weekends?
Definitely weekends. We work most days.
Okay. And in the evening or during the day?
During the day.
Okay, great. So Saturday, I'm going to check out some homes, and on Saturday we'll meet up. I'll get you the times, and we'll go from there. How does that sound?
That sounds great. Thanks.
Awesome. Okay, so that's just kind of a smooth way to move through it. You don't have to stick to all of the what's highlighted, but definitely come back to it if you jump over something. So let's have you guys break up into small groups. Let me see if it's set up here, and we'll just do this for 5 minutes, okay? So let's try 4 rooms. Okay, let me know if it's not working at all, and I'll see you guys back here in 5 minutes. All right. How was that, everybody?
Good.
Good?
Ashley is a
Good.
pro.
Emily's an amazing agent. She's gonna help me find a new home.
I like it.
Closing deals in class. I like it.
Man, it'd be so good if it was that easy, right?
I
Yeah.
mean, are any of you looking to make a move in real estate?
That's awesome. Oh, good job. Thanks for being open and doing that, everybody. All right. So the next thing we'll do is we'll just kind of talk about the questions. Were you able to fit some extra questions in that weren't on the sheet that you thought might be good for the situation? Or did you pretty much stick to the script?
I always try to get some like rapport building questions in. So like, where do you work? Kind of bring up some things that might need to be important in regards to consideration, like commutes, different things like that. And I also always try to get just a rough touch on like what their perception of like the market and the overall kind of like their expectations.
For sure.
Whether they're like, I'm waiting till summer because that's the time to buy. Okay, they're going off historical data versus we're in a pandemic, so it doesn't really matter anymore. Like just little things like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, and Ashley, you're right on too, because once people start sharing things like, my parents bought their house in the spring, so that's when we should buy our house. Then you want to, okay, that's awesome. You can appreciate that while making a plan on helping them change that perception, right? Awesome. So you guys will be able to add to your successes based on this little talking, because it's a little bit of it's building that skill of talking to folks. It's the beginning of us using scripts, right, Laura?
Mm-hmm.
All right. How'd you like it? Was it okay?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
Well, you and Ashley both have completely different styles, right?
Yeah.
So I would probably be a little more on your style of talking, but she comes up with just bullet, right to the point questions. She's so good. I have to
I'm high D.
So I need to I think I need bullet points, each question I should hit and kind of, which one, how the conversation is going by, question to kind of come up with next. So I'm trying to kind of I got a lot out of each of you guys today.
That's awesome.
So, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to throw this out there. So I went through this lead sheet yesterday with a lead I got from Op City.
Awesome.
And of course I stumbled through it because, I was totally nervous because there's a real person on the other side.
Sure.
Right.
But I made myself a new mental personal tip is I'm taping a copy of the lead sheet on the wall in front of me, because I found myself, I kept looking down to ask them the questions.
Yeah.
And then it totally just hindered my ability to look and feel like I knew what I was doing.
Sure.
So taping it up here across from the screen is going to make it so I'm making eye contact with them, but really I'm just reading the questions, but now it looks like I know what I'm doing.
That's awesome.
Hey,
that's perfect.
Out there too, one of my ahas that I've had so far today with Op City, because I've heard a couple of other people say they're using it too, is because I've talked to a couple people from Op City, and I'm having a hard time getting them to agree to meet me on Zoom or whatever. They just kind of want to do phone calls and emails.
Okay.
So my things that I was thinking about doing was kind of just saying that that's our next step in that intro.
I like it.
Was okay, hi, yeah, I've got your information from Op City. What time can we meet for a Zoom? And just making that my next step. And then at that point, when I meet them for Zoom, going over this list with them.
That's awesome. That's good, because we have to adapt, right?
Yeah.
So it's important to have those words in there, because it'll lead folks to meeting with you. So I like that.
Hey Ryan, can I
Yeah.
give a
Yeah.
offering? Something that really helped me out early on in my sales career, it's actually from, I used to be in consumer banking and commercial finance.
Right.
So in that industry, we had to hard close. Like the likelihood you need to close your sale like while they're on the phone.
Yep.
And that's been an adjustment for me here, is kind of having a little bit of a softer approach. But something
Sure.
that's always worked is like an assumptive conversation. So you're assuming that you close the deal. And when you talk like that, Heather, I think that you're going to see so much benefit. You're like, okay, thank you so much. This is so much great information. All right, so the next step in this process is we just need to schedule a quick 20 to 30-minute Zoom meeting, just go over what to expect in the home buying process. I already got you set up with a lender. And then from that point, we can start seeing some houses. And so if you just tell them like, this is what's happening, I think that you're going to see a great response from that. Instead of you're the expert and you're telling them what to expect, instead of them kind of leading the relationship.
That's perfect. Thank you, Ashley. Yeah, when you tell them, especially those op city folks, you find out if it's best for them to talk during the day or night, and then you give them 2 times. Say, hey, I can meet with you at 5 or I can meet with you at 7. Which one's going to work for you? Then they'll feel that way too, that you're in a little bit more control, but they'll feel good that you're still getting an option to them. So awesome. All right, so signing our buyer agreement. We ask for the business. When will you be ready to buy? We ask for the appointment. Oh, here. Does it work tomorrow at 3 p.m. or Friday at 1? And then 3, assess the financing needs. Have they been pre-approved to purchase a home by a lender? So finding the motivated buyer, it's the first step. It's turning that warm lead into a closed client. And by completing that buyer lead sheet and rating your buyers A, B, or C, you should be able to determine when you can ask for their business. As you ask for their business, when will you be ready to buy? So one of the important things about finding that out is it helps your expectations as well, because sometimes you'll get super busy. You will need to be able to put some folks in front of others as far as showing them homes, because if they're just kind of fishing at this point and they're dragging their feet, you really need to know if they're an A, B, or C. They're going to go in that C box, and then you can focus more on your A's and your B's, while C works on getting pre-qualified or their house ready to list or things like that. That way you're not wasting precious time and low housing inventory on a C. I don't know if I should say wasting time. You're still building that rapport and that relationship. However, you could be out showing A's houses. So the signing that buyer agreement is very important, because it starts off that relationship and people feel a little bit more of a connection with you. So there is a form with the buyer's agency agreement in our MLS that you should use for that. And there's several different ways, several different scripts on getting it signed. It kind of sets you off on a good foot with that person as well, because now they're going to feel connected to you. I let folks know that it allows me to represent them and be their fiduciary and their representative in this real estate transaction. When they sign their agreement with me, they're not just getting my services, but they're also getting the legal backing of my office. My designated broker, John Hansen, he's available for calls and emails, and he'll help us through the transaction as well if anything wild or crazy were to come up. Of course, I don't foresee any of that happening, but it's really nice to know we have the backing of our office for that. And then folks will realize that they're not just getting you, they're getting something extra with your office, and they feel taken care of. You can let them know, hey, and if it feels like it's just not working out for you, and I've shown you a few homes and you don't feel comfortable with me, we can move on. But I don't think that'll happen. I think we're gonna have a great home buying journey together, and you're going to be really happy. So the National Association of Realtors 2019 profile of home buyers and sellers states that 20% of all buyers pre-qualified for mortgage online. Only 11% found their mortgage lender online. So what does that tell you? It tells you that people are listening to their realtors about who to use for a lender. So build those relationships with your favorite lender. And don't be afraid to tell them also if something's not working. I've had an interesting situation going on right now with a lender that I've used a decent amount in the past. It's not one that I've mentioned at all. It's not Movement Mortgage. It's not Fairway. It's another one that we had 3 really good years together, and recently they've really dropped the ball. I think it's somebody in their processing. So I had to have that conversation with them and just say, listen, we need somebody who's going to be able to answer emails, calls, and texts a little bit better than your folks are doing right now. So I'm sorry if you don't see a few clients from me for a little while. I'm just hoping that you can get somebody else in there that's going to be more responsive. And sometimes you'll have to have those conversations with folks. I don't know if any of you tried working with Keller Mortgage through the office. I haven't yet. Several folks have, but that's also available to you as well. So if you want to do a little research into Keller Mortgage, you can check with them. I think it's important to have your list of people that you know and trust that you've worked with in the past, because you can build off of that rapport. So page 6 of your guide, do you have any other ideas of what you might ask a lender, of what they could do for you and for your buyers? Ashley, coming from banking, do you have a suggestion on what somebody may want to ask a potential lender, of what they might be able to do for them?
Yeah, something that I think is important is just kind of talking about what I always like to ask, what's your company's, what do you guys do? Are you about volume? What are you about? And kind of getting a feel about their culture, because
Sure.
Something that's important to me is, if I know the experience that I'm going to deliver, I need to ensure that I'm making recommendations and referrals to partners that are also going to deliver that type of an experience. I started out my career in a huge corporate bank, in where customers or clients were treated like, it's kind of like widgets. So you sell them something and
Sure.
then it's off your plate, instead of building the relationship, understanding that it's not about closing 5 products at once. It's about one every 6 months, and deepening that relationship. And you feel the difference. I don't know if you've ever felt that in any other retailers that you guys have worked with, but getting to understand what's the culture of your business. What's it like? Because I want to make sure that for one, your clients want to be happy, because that actually could lose you an entire deal, as if you refer them to a lender and the lender is terrible. But also that way, that your clients are being taken care of, like the ethics, right?
Sure.
Usually when people are relationship based, that means that their ethics are usually pretty high up there, versus somebody that's going to just a huge mortgage company might not value
Push
somebody
the
like
funds.
Movement with like Debbie. Like Debbie
Yep.
knows every single one of our clients by name. She knows their story.
Yep.
She's like, oh, so and so has a dentist appointment. She said she's going to call me after 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's the difference. So
Yep.
things like that are huge.
And that difference that Ashley's talking about makes the difference on whether or not you'll get a deal accepted too. So if
Yep.
your buyer is signed up with, no offense to Bank of America, but with B of A, and the lender isn't answering emails or calls, and you're in the 9th inning of closing this deal, it's a huge bummer, because it might have been smooth the whole way, and then all of a sudden it's terrible. But if it's a Friday night at 4:30 in the afternoon, you'd like some answers so your clients can have some peace of mind before the weekend. You're not going to get that from a big bank or somebody who's pushing numbers. You will get that from a smaller mortgage lender who knows you by name and doesn't have to stumble around for your client's name either. So, no, that's really great, great advice. Okay, so our recap and our ahas. So the National Association of Realtors 2019 profile of home buyers and sellers show us that 90% of buyers would use their agent again, or they'd recommend their agent to others. That's a pretty high rate. That's really good. Especially something came out last year. I don't remember. I think it was in Newsweek. It was like the 5 shadiest careers, and one of them was real estate. So those realtors must be the other 10%, I'm guessing. If 90% of people use this again, it must have just been a really loud 10%. So how important do you think that cyclical nature of lead generation model is when you take on, like, look at an important stat like that? It means that those people were constantly getting talked to. They were getting their emails, texts, birthday card, whatever note it is, a drop by. I have these little drop by cards. Let's see if it can show up on here. It's just a little postcard on the front. On the back's got my name, and it's got my phone number, my picture, my email. I carry these in my car. And if I'm randomly in a neighborhood of somebody's home that I help them buy, or even a home that I helped list, and had a tiny bit of a relationship with the buyer, I'll just write a little personal note on there and I'll stick it in the door saying, "Hi, hey, I was in your neighborhood. Sorry we weren't able to see each other. I did this pre-COVID and during COVID." Just keeping any part of that relationship going will be super helpful for you down the road. It'll start that relationship of repeat business with your buyers and your sellers. So does this give you any clues as to what you can do once you complete a transaction with a client? You can put them on that, like one of those nurture smart plans, just to keep in touch. Make sure that you're reaching out for birthdays, for anniversaries, all of that. Folks love that. So let's go to, I think, is it the last page of your participant guide? There should be an ahas to achievement page. So the goal of our time together is to help you think, feel, act, use what we've talked about, or learn to ignite your passion, to help you find out your big why and your one thing. And all these little ahas, everything we've talked about today, whether it's Ashley's experience in bigger banks, or is that right? Is bigger banks the right way to say that, Ashley? Okay. Heather's experience with already being a homeowner and knowing that her realtor is the entire reason why she's at KW right now. Sorry, getting messages. I do not want to open my Microsoft account. So what makes you feel differently about anything today? What's meaningful to you? Let's open up those pages and write down some ahas. We don't need to break up into groups for this. We can do it right here. What are some ahas you have from today? Has anything in your mindset changed, or will there be something that you'll be adding?
I feel more confident about reaching out to lenders, actually knowing what to ask them or what to say towards them. And I feel better about ads and actually I know that I can post to the group and ask if I can use their listings as ads.
That's awesome. That's good. Very good.
you also, we do this on our team, but we are encouraged to do it all the time, is you can do like virtual open houses, which was so cool. We like the house sold before we even had the video chopped up, but it was totally worth it. And like, I'm new in real estate, and so when you do that, like these virtual open houses, you know, you're just recording yourself walking through, talking about the house, but it makes it look like you are being productive, and it gives you more credibility, even though nobody knows that's not your listing, right?
More street cred.
Totally. Like, I had a lot of people be like, dang, you're really killing it, you just started. And I was like, yeah, I am. So it's, you know, so it's awesome, and it's cool, it's good. It's the same thing as like previewing a home. You get to learn about the house, walk through it, see what's going on. So I would just hit up the listing agent and say, hey, this is what I want to do. Are you okay with me doing that? And then just schedule your showing time and literally do a selfie video and walk around, and or go with a friend, pair up and have somebody record you. Like, it's really awesome.
I did that when I was in Anderson Island for a vacation in August, and there was a house there, and it was like, hey, my mom wanted to see it, and I was like, hey, I can do a tour. And so I called up the agent and went and did a tour and videotaped. And I did a virtual open house yesterday that was listed on the MLS, and 2 people logged on and logged off like within 2 seconds. So that's it. Like, nobody showed up, right? So I'm just sitting there, but I took a picture of the fireplace, and I'm like, hey, look at this cool fireplace in this brand new, condo. And I had like 10 people comment, and it's like, hey, this is a house I'm touring, or I'm doing an open house at. And so it's all like, they don't know that it's not my listing, right? Yeah. Right. So like, same thing you said, but it's just like, people are seeing me out there, and they're like, oh, that's so cool, you're doing this. And I'm like, yeah, they don't have to know that I don't have any clients with me.
So those video walkthroughs, though, would you post them to, let's say, your Facebook account, or would you put them, let's say, on your Instagram story, or
all of them?
Whatever you're more comfortable maintaining and commenting back with people. So you can do it on all, but like, you want to optimize it for each one, right?
Yeah.
Like, Instagram only wants so many seconds, and Facebook will do more, and YouTube will do longer, so it really depends what you're comfortable with. And like yesterday I did a TikTok just talking about the 90-day rule for an FHA, and so it's like a 15-second video of me like 2 times my voice, but it was just like, hey, this is a way I can do something for TikTok, so it's just like whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and don't forget, when you're doing lives, it notifies everyone you're a friend with, so it peaks their, you know what I mean? Sometimes people will click on it. Like, I know sometimes, like, I have a lot of girlfriends that sell like makeup and stuff, and I will click into it just because it popped up, or I'm trying to get out of it and I don't know how fast enough, and I'm in there. but I'm there, you know what I mean? But then I'm there, so it might help you, like doing like quick little lives, like, hey, about to do even like something fun, like, hey, about to do a virtual open house, stay tuned, I'll have the full video posted in an hour, or whatever it is, and that way they know where you're at, it piqued their interest, and then they'll look for the video. Small things like that.
Thank you.
yeah, literally just Googling awesome ways to make a ton of money as a real estate agent, that came up on there. So
that is a good Google.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so what's the common theme? What is everybody talked about today that's worked for them? Josh's Facebook ads. Sorry, Esther.
Really top of mind, like however you're comfortable, right? Like the notes and video or social media or however it works, it's more, how can you stay top of mind with people?
So being top of mind and being willing to put ourselves out there. So it might be uncomfortable at first, but if we start getting it takes a little time, but we become comfortable. And the nice thing about the difference is, so if you do a Facebook Live, it's this is how it is, and you're rolling. If you do a recording and you make it 59 seconds so that it can post on all your platforms because it's under a minute. I don't know about TikTok. I can't do the TikTok dance, so I don't do TikTok. But with Facebook and Instagram, obviously YouTube, if you keep it under a minute, if you keep it at 59 seconds, then you can post all the videos you want. So I usually do 4 videos for an open house or just a walkthrough. I'll start outside. I'll do an introduction from the front, and then walk through, break it up into 4 50 to 59-second videos. Works out pretty well. And if you find spots like Esther is talking about, you find a spot out on the island, I don't know a soul that doesn't want to live on an awesome island. I mean, you're going to get a lot of feedback on properties that are awesome, you know, and it could be a view property. It could be a great condo in downtown Tacoma with a view. And whenever you're going, you can call somebody up and say, hey, I'd like to come view your condo. Do you mind if I actually do a couple little videos for my advertising? People will just come to me, they'll ask me about it, and then I can share with them and offer to show it to them. Do you mind if I do that? Nobody's going to say no. Everybody wants free advertising. So we have all those tools and models and systems for everybody to be able to use, and use your resources. Use all of us here at the office. You know, everybody who's been here for years. I've, you know, been here a little over 5.5 years. Some people have been here 10 years. Whatever it is, everybody still uses their resources because that's how this office is. So don't be afraid to reach out and ask different questions. Chris Ranch has some really good scripts for helping you getting your buyers to sign that agreement. You're going to find what works best for you through trial and error, and through with that practice, you're going to find out what's best for you. So what about our goals? So how many contacts are we trying to add daily?
10.
10? Awesome. And how many conversations?
10.
All right.
10.
And 10 handwritten notes and 10 home previews per week, right?
I've been failing at this.
Hey, that's fine. We're going to
That's
fail.
a lot.
We're going to fail forward. 10, you know, the toughest one is the 10 handwritten notes a day. And start your goal at 10 a week. And then move up from there. Because once you gain more folks in your database, you might be able to get up to 10 a day. Mm-hmm. I don't know anybody that does 10 a day. So okay. just try 10 a week and see how that goes. And break them up too. So, you know, I'm going to send you a call sheet as well. If anybody would like it, I'm going to put my info down here in the chat. It's a call sheet on a different idea of how to reach out to your clients, just so it's not the same old, I'm starting at A and going to Z. Just drop me an email and ask for the call sheet. And after I dig it out of my folders, I will send it to you guys. But it's kind of a funner way, or more fun of a way, I don't know, to get your call list going so that you're not doing the same thing every time. Now, the 10 home previews per week, that's really awesome to you guys. And if you're like Ashley and Esther were talking about, if you're doing, you know, a few of those live, one or two, you know, do one live and then do 2 as recordings, whatever it may be. Even if you're doing, I mean, I've stopped outside of a house, taken a photo of it, and then shared that photo. Like, that's really all you have to do. So you're staying top of mind. Man, I saw this really cool house today up in Burien. Who would like to see it with me next? That's all you have to do. And then you're staying top of mind for your buyers and your sellers.
So if we do that, if we share even just a photo of the front of the house, do we still have to get permission from the listing agent?
No.
As long as you're the one taking the photo.
Yeah. Because it's
or if the listing agent gives you permission to use their photos. But like,
right.
My one friend, like, she had only permission to use the photos as long as the house was listed, and then she wasn't allowed to use them anymore, which is, I don't know. I don't know that I would agree with that for a photographer, but so I had to make sure I only used the stuff for the open house when it was listed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if as long as you're taking the photo, I mean, they've got it all out on the internet already and everything. It's not like it's a pocket listing or anything strange like that. You're good to go. So the goal of Spark is to get us rolling, right? And so get us to our first appointment with our buyers or our sellers. And we know that these activities are going to put us on that path. Does anybody have any questions?
I'm actually kind of curious what the percentage is of like, say when I got my real estate agent, I found her through my lender. So how many agents are found actually through the lender? That's got to be a pretty good percentage.
I'm not sure, honestly. We can find out. I've had several lenders give me leads, but not nearly as many as I give them, right?
Right.
I would say maybe 10%, but I couldn't say. But yeah, we can look into that. That'd be an interesting stat to find out.
Yeah.
And some like big banks, like I know like a couple of the banks that I work for, they actually have programs with their mortgage officers that like it's like there's one called like Realty Plus where it's like realtors can apply to be in that, and they like have to have so many closings, but they basically, it's the way the bank can guarantee that they're going to get like the highest level of service out of an agent. Like, you know what I mean? It's almost like that reversing that I was talking about, is making sure that you're going to have a good experience for your client. They have that set up there. And then also like their kickback is if they refer to a specific agent in this grouping, they get a little bit of a kickback. And then also that's their preferred lender, so they're going to get business back the other way, but like clients get a discount. So sometimes that happens too, like where your lender might recommend somebody, but it's because they're part of like a kickback referral program. So that's something to be mindful of. I'm not sure about like lender specific, but I do know that big banks do that.
Yeah, BECU does that. US Bank, Bank of America. Some of our agents are part of that, I know, and there's some really good programs. The BECU one is super popular around here. So they kind of grade you, and you're on a performance scale, and it's sometimes hard to get into that program, but once you're in and you just keep doing what you're doing, it's very, very profitable. We can look into that a bit too, Laura. So, okay, guys, we're going to wrap up here shortly. We didn't do scripts today, but I want to encourage you to do scripts. As we do scripts, we lead generate, we uncover the motivations of our buyers, why they want to buy. We identify their objections, then we learn how to close deals. We speak in terms the customer understands. It builds our confidence. So has anybody been able to take the scripts class with Lindsay?
There's one today, isn't there?
I believe there is one today. I think it's at 1:30, I think.
I think so.
So learning scripts is important. It helps us practice. It helps us internalize the script, so it allows our business to grow. It's very similar to Hollywood. They need to practice their scripts in order to be credible, right? So people can believe them. We have to practice our scripts as well. It'll become second nature to us, and we can control any conversation, because scripts is what helps us when we don't have experience. After a while, then your experience, that'll come into the scripts as well. And it'll eventually, all of it will lead to you and a closed transaction. Scripts are important because they help you communicate your value. And you've internalized it, so you can let everybody know what you can do for them. It's part of the value proposition that we worked on yesterday. With the uncovering motivations, that's really important because it helps you get to know your clients better. And then if they have some very interesting motivations or objections that you haven't heard before, you have a script for that deep down in your heart that you know you can use. And eventually it sounds like it's not a script. I know it for a while there, it's kind of tough because it sounds like you're just reading off a sheet of paper, but it's eventually going to not sound like that. It'll sound like just regular speaking to you. And it helps you answer the questions that folks might have sometimes before they ask them. And I think the main thing that scripts do is they really help us with our confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's it, everybody. I'd like to encourage you to come to scripts class, and then we've got 3 more days this week, of the Spark. Everybody's enjoying it so far?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, feel free to reach out if you guys have any questions, or if you want that call sheet, send me an email, and then you guys know where to find me if anybody needs anything, okay?
Yeah, thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody, for participating, and it was awesome seeing everybody today.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right. Thanks a lot, everyone. We'll chat soon.